Hello everyone, this is Shweta Dalmi and welcome to another amazing episode of The Climapreneur Show. Climapreneurs are entrepreneurs driving climate action and we bring to you stories of these climapreneurs. So today on the show we have with us Barkha Bhatnagar Das. She is the co-founder of Greendigo. Also, if you guys haven't still checked out House of Clima, please guys go check it out. House of Clima is our own brand and it's your one-stop place for affordable, comfortable and sustainable fashion. And so guys, I'm gonna let you guys go enjoy the podcast. So, welcome to the Climapreneur Show, Barkha. I'm quite excited because this is our first video podcast and you're our first guest on the video podcast. So, welcome to the Climapreneur Show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Okay, so I'll just start with, I read a blog of yours this morning on Medium where you have mentioned something like, dreams do not have a shelf life. And I'll ask you to start with talking about dreams because I feel that dreams really are a stepping stone towards any journey that you begin.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just start off by introducing myself because my story is really a journey. So I am the co-founder of Greendigo. We are an organic cotton brand for apparel based in India. We make a certified organic cotton clothing that is thoughtfully designed for children, keeping their health, safety, and comfort in mind. And sustainability is the bedrock of our brand. We are very conscious of all our processes, right from the raw materials used, right to the final packaging. So prior to, jumping into the apparel industry of sustainable fashion, I have been a banker all my life. And yes, that is what I meant by dreams when followed through, do come true. I guess it's just a matter of keeping at it and just being persistent and determined to achieve your goals.
So I was about to go there only. My next question to you was that, I know for a fact that you have had a very long corporate career and, you left that long corporate career to start Greendigo. I'm sure that it wouldn't have been an easy journey to just, stop your corporate career, start Greendigo. So what was it like and what gave you the courage to take that step?
Sure. So like you said, it's not easy leaving a cushy and comfortable job. But I was driven by my calling and my purpose propelled me to take that decision. So while I was still working, my co-founder and I decided to start with our research. So, I've always wanted to do something that moves the needle on living sustainably, right, while my co-founder had faced a problem firsthand, with finding organic cotton clothing for her daughter in India. So we went down the rabbit hole and researched more about, the apparel industry in India. And we were horrified with the abundance of synthetics that flood our markets. So while that strengthened our belief that we need to take the plunge to do our bit, we had so many moments of doubt since neither of us belonged to this industry. So right from how will we set up our supply chain to what are the kinds of designs that will work, the list is really endless.
So what all doubts did you have? Were you scared when you were taking that leap, and what gave you the courage ki nahi, I have to do this, I have to leave the corporate job, move towards Greendigo? A lot many times people think that okay, if you have created something, maybe one night you thought ki bhai chodo, let's start this. So was it really like what it looks from outside? You just left your corporate job, you went to Greendigo? Or were there several nights of, I would say doubt, being scared and all these things involved?
There were several nights of, there were several sleepless nights, I would say. And, it wasn't just a whim or a fancy for us. We wanted this to, so you must realize that, we were doing really well in our corporate jobs. So for us to actually pursue this also had to make commercial sense, while we were doing our bit. So we did take a very calculated risk. And we decided that, we would start small and, then see how it goes from there. And all I can say today is that we are so happy that we took that first step.
So like what have in your 15 years of experience in the banking sector, when you're running today Greendigo, do you feel grateful like, okay, this is the one skill that I learned there and now it's helping me in my process at Greendigo?
Absolutely. So, I have largely been in brand and marketing roles during my banking stint. And that has really helped me gain a very wide perspective in mining consumer insights, product development, brand management, and advertising. And, these are core skills that come in handy every day. So at Greendigo, solving for the consumers' pain points is a big part of our design process. And my prior experience of viewing things from a consumer's lens has a big role to play in how I go about this now.
Like, because sort of I understand the process, I understand that sort of how much courage, how much hard work, and like it takes a lot of patience to build what you're building, right? So like how do you feel because you started with a vision and now when you see your vision has developed into a product, that product is reaching to millions of households today, so what is that feeling like, and did you imagine this kind of thing when you were just in the ideation phase?
So, see, we really didn't know how this would pan out. One thing that we did start off, with understanding very soon, very early on rather, was that the awareness in consumers is very low about what sustainability actually is.
Right.
So, there is a lack of awareness about what organic means, what sustainable means, what natural means, and everyone is inundated with all this eco-friendly jargon, and not many realize what the difference or the finer nuances of each of these terms is. So that is something which really popped up early on in our journey, and we realized that we need to handhold the audience and we need to educate them. The other thing that exists, unfortunately, is that while everyone is jumping onto the bandwagon of selling sustainable and organic products, how does the poor customer really verify what he's got is genuinely authentic, authentically organic or not? So we, went down the road of getting ourselves certified by the Global Organic Textile Standard, which audits our supply chain right from farm to our factory, all our manufacturing processes, all the raw material that is used. So that is a very stringent compliance measure that we, decided to invest in very early on. And we are very proud of the fact that every Greendigo garment comes with a certificate attached that guarantees the authenticness of its organic status. So we are trying to kind of educate the market, and we are trying to make consumers aware that be mindful of what you purchase, yes, but also don't get misled by the flurry of information and the flurry of brands who may be greenwashing, and just paying lip service to being sustainable.
So like how has the meaning of sustainability changed for you, like before starting Greendigo and now when you're into Greendigo, you're just like every day you are learning new things about sustainability, climate action. So how has that meaning changed for you now?
So see, I have always I have always been a very mindful person when it comes to my own personal choices. However, it has been more I have viewed it more from an environmental point of view.
Right.
So recycling, repurposing, trying to be zero waste at home, those were the areas that I used to kind of operate myself in an individual capacity. But now I realize how big an aspect health and safety is of living sustainably. I think many of us correlate sustainability with just the environment. We often don't think of how that impacts our health. So, for instance, chemical pesticides, which are used in a conventional cotton farm, pollute the soil and the water bodies, which in turn contaminate our food chains. No one really thinks of it like that, no one really connects the dots. But at the end of it, it's not just the environment, it's about the health and safety of the entire ecosystem, which includes us, which includes all the wildlife, which includes all the flora and fauna. So that shift in understanding sustainability, that ability to connect the dots has definitely been a result of me now being full-fledged involved in running this business. And the fact that the clothes that we wear, we always look at how it looks, right? Whether it's whether the style is good, whether it's trendy, how it looks on us, but we often don't realize what it's made of. So what we wear is often laced with chemicals which get absorbed by our skin. And that's the reason why, so many of us have allergies, rashes, and so many different health concerns that go unanswered, right? Or unexplained, sorry. So having said so, now I truly believe that living sustainably has to start early. And it's, the sooner it is, the better it is.
So what is sustainability? Because I know you have a lot to add on that sustainability is a journey. So,
Absolutely.
what is sustainability? How should we approach sustainability? And because, I remember you telling me that sustainability these days is a very loosely used word.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
what is sustainability?
So see, sustainability on its own is a very large term. So let me try to answer your question with respect to fashion.
Right.
Yeah. So say sustainable fashion, in my opinion, is that which is produced using raw materials and processes that are environmentally and socially responsible, right? Now, while we feel that production has a huge role to play, consumption too should be done mindfully, right? So in my view, sustainability is about inclusivity. And when I say inclusivity, I mean it's important that everyone takes part of the conversation, be it the brand or be it the consumer.
Right.
The consumers who buy sustainable garments will eventually start thinking about the impact they are making in other areas of their lives too. For instance, being aware of choosing sustainable fabrics, and once you do that, you realize that buying less and but buying better quality is a wise decision.
Right.
Then you think about repurposing and repairing stuff instead of just trashing it, or even being mindful of the way clothes are being washed, right? All of us have now begun to think deeper into everything. So it's not just about one action, it's about how you take that first step, and that triggers you to think about all the other related activities, thereby pushing you to make a mindful choice and a mindful decision, in basically all aspects of our life.
Okay, so here I'll ask you that, why Green Deco? Why not something else? And also, why you went into the space of sustainable fashion and why not, say, any other space?
So, see, why Green Deco is because, we've been deeply concerned about, the health and environmental issues associated with the use of synthetic fabrics. Like I mentioned before, synthetic fabrics have been known to cause health concerns, especially in children, because their skin is thinner and more absorbent of substances present in their clothes. So this can cause a whole lot of health concerns. Now, apart from health concerns, synthetic garments also take a long time to decompose, and they create long-term pollution on our planet.
Right.
So, since it's harming the environment and the dangerous toxins make way into our food chain causing health issues, we thought that, while embarking upon our journey, we wanted to be a part of the solution rather than the problem. I mean, everyone knows how notorious the apparel industry is for pollution and the hazards that are a byresult of its processes. So we didn't want to contribute to that problem. We instead wanted to be a solution to that, and that led us to make organic cotton clothing that is safe for human health and made in an environmentally and socially responsible way.
And why sustainable fashion? And also, like, here I would ask you, I remember, like, seeing your website, I even told you that I really felt that I should be a kid, seeing all those vibrant, beautiful, positive colors. So, like, do you have a thought process attached to it that you're using such vibrant, positive colors? Like, is there a vision behind it that you're trying to, like, a message that you're trying to convey to people out there? And also, to add to this, I'll also ask you that do you think that sustainable fashion can be affordable and accessible?
Okay, wow. I'll try my best to
Okay.
answer that. So, let me first address your question regarding our designs and color palette, right? So, when we started, we had a very interesting consumer insight. We were going about meeting all our potential consumers and young parents when we were doing our research. And when we asked them what they thought of organic clothing or sustainable clothing, uh, one common response that we got was that it's dull, it's boring, it's difficult to maintain, and because it is dull and boring, it's not suitable for children. Children won't wear it. So there is such a strong association in the minds of consumers for sustainable fashion being dull and boring and literally looking like a sack, right? They don't think it can be stylish. So we wanted to debunk this, and we introduced clothes that are thoughtfully designed for the comfort of children and the convenience of parents, while being fun, colorful, bright, and all the other different attributes which they thought organic clothing cannot have. So, with that, our design team really focuses on the visual appeal, and they work on clever and innovative designs which solve for the pain points that our consumers have. So, for instance, young moms who have small babies, they said that, they need to make frequent diaper changes. So we introduced popper buttons which make diaper changes easy without parents having to disturb the baby too much, right? Young parents, again, one of their biggest concerns is that kids outgrow their clothes so fast. So we introduced baby grows which are designed for growing babies. They are adjustable and they last longer.
Right.
So these are the sort of design interventions that we work with, and like I mentioned before, solving for the consumer's pain point is actually what drives us, because for us, and our understanding is that a consumer is first looking for utility for the product.
Right.
No one is buying a sustainable product. Everyone wants clothes that look good, that feel good, that fit their budget, and which are long lasting, right? The cherry on top is that if it is sustainable, right? So we really believe that just by selling products, just by making products that are sustainable without solving for the consumer's problem, we are not going to make a difference, right? It needs to be a product that the consumer is looking for, and he feels good about that purchase if it is sustainable, because he thinks then he's also doing his bit.
And how do you think that we can make sustainable fashion more affordable and more accessible? Because somewhere this term prevails when I talk to people, they're like, okay, sustainable fashion is a luxury, it's for the riches. So do you think that statement is true?
So Shweta, that's a great question. Consumers often believe that organic clothing is meant for the privileged only because of its high price point. It's very ambitious, but we endeavor to change this perception, because in reality, organic cotton clothing can be fairly affordable and accessible. Not only that, like I said, organic clothing also comes with this baggage of being dull, boring, and high maintenance, thereby being unsuitable to wear daily. uh, Now we believe that if the needle on sustainability needs to move, then it can't just be occasional wear that's sustainable, right? It has to be the clothes worn by us daily in larger numbers that need to be sustainable for us to actually have an impact. So our mission at Green Deco, therefore, is to make fun, colorful, long-lasting, and thought-through garments. And like I said before, a customer wouldn't buy a product just because it's sustainable, or he wouldn't pay a higher price just because it's sustainable, right? The product has to look good, feel good, be good quality, and then if it's sustainable, the customer will go for it.
Right.
So, answering your question about the high price point, I think that is also a collective responsibility of the brands and the consumer. I feel that as consumers get more aware, brands will also get more pressurized to kind of adopt sustainable practices and offer more products in this domain. So yeah, I think price is something that would get addressed as we go along, as the market develops. However, misleading consumers into paying a higher price just because a product is labeled as sustainable is something that we don't advocate.
Okay. I'll ask you now that in your entire journey while building Green Deco, did you had those moments when you felt like giving up and you felt like, nahi ho raha hai, but will it work, will it not work? What were those moments and how did you pick yourself up during those moments?
So, there have been many such moments. I think it would call for a separate discussion if you want me to list out what those would be. But I think one of our biggest challenges, and something that we faced really early on, was creating a very transparent and sustainable supply chain. That was something that we were just not willing to negotiate on, and unfortunately, that proved to be one of our biggest challenges, because it is very difficult to find like-minded vendors and suppliers who are equally passionate about making a difference to the planet as you are. And we've been turned away by many, and we've also refused to many because some just believe in greenwashing, right? So there are many vendors, suppliers who we've had conversations with, but we had to turn away because their ethos and our values just weren't matching. And we gave up our corporate careers to do this, so we were in it full on, and we wanted to just tick all the right boxes from the word go without making any compromises in the way we work. So that, I would say, was one of our biggest challenges, getting our supply chain up.
Like if I come and tell you today that Barkha, I want to give up, it's not working out, I'm unsure that will this work out, will this not work out, so what would you tell me?
So see, what I would tell you from my 2 cents, okay, is that when entrepreneurs, and I have also fellow entrepreneur friends, and we often just sit and discuss the challenges that we face, and there are moments of self-doubt, and everyone has experienced imposter syndrome at some point or the other. So my 2 cents would be for such a predicament, that start small, test the market, get feedback on whether it's a product or a service, whatever you are offering, and then decide the way forward. It's, however, important to ensure that the idea or the solution that you're working on is scalable and commercially viable in the long run, because that is where most of us falter. We are all out there, we are all eco warriors, and we are all out there to make a difference, and in that zest and in that passion to just go out there and do our thing, we often overlooks the fact whether what we are pursuing is actually scalable and viable.
Right.
Because unless it doesn't check those two boxes, you're only going to go that far in making a difference. It has to touch many number of people, and it can't just be something that only a handful of people can experience.
Like, we often say that you really need to believe in the cause. So what is believing in cause? Like, what does that statement mean? And also, I would say, because when we are creating products, we need customers to believe in our cause. So what is it like, and how do you make customers believe in your cause as well?
So, Shweta, our cause is to make products, that are safe for the health of the people and the planet.
Right.
Now, while we are a purpose-driven business and stay true to our core values, throughout our supply chain from farm to factory, like I said, we realize that customers won't buy a product just because it's sustainable or organic. So while that may be our cause, to the customer, it needs to look good, feel good, be priced well, and then he'll buy it. If it's and if it's sustainable, it's an added bonus or a cherry on top.
Correct.
So our focus in achieving our cause is very, very customer centric. Okay, so we are not just selling products or aiming to offer products that just can be labeled as sustainable or organic. They have to be functional and utility driven for the customer and easily fit into the busy life of young parents who are our primary TG. So, we realized that, young parents are pressed for time. They are constantly scurrying, managing all the different activities, managing their kids. So, this small pain point of theirs, which could be hand washing clothes. Baby clothes are often hand washed, right? We address that, and all Greendigo products are machine washable. So we feel that our product is a simple solution to a complex life of a young parent. That's the way we typically approach, our customers, because it has to solve for their primary problems first, right? So when customers see value in our product, they consider us and end up feeling great about the purchase, because then they feel, oh yeah, we've bought a good, clean product,
Right.
so we've done our bit. So while our cause is, of course, to do all about the betterment of human health and the planet, that translates to the customer only as a secondary thing. Because consumers will not buy a product just because it's sustainable.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, like, because like a lot of entrepreneurs or I would say climapreneurs, like people who are creating climate solutions, we know that our solutions are going to have a positive impact on the environment. But sometimes when we are just starting up, we do not know that if this particular idea will work or not. We do not know like the monetization plan. So how do you think that we should approach the entire situation, like when you are not sure if your idea will work, when you do not know if there is a monetization plan attached to it?
Yeah. So again, Shweta, my 2 cents again would be to take small steps, right? If you really have a cause or a purpose that you're very passionate about and which you think solves for a problem for a larger set of the audience, take a small step, test it out, speak to consumers, because right through my corporate career and even now in Greendigo, I think one thing that a lot of businesses undermine is consumer insight, right? At the end of it, whether you're a sustainable business or not, you are here to serve your customers. And till you understand your customers or their pain points or what they want, what they don't want, it's very difficult to develop products or solutions, right? So I would say start small, speak to your target audience, understand them, and then get into the iterative process of fine-tuning your product, and then just go for it.
Okay, so like here I'll ask you one thing, because it happens a lot of times with me that when some random people, sometimes I get random emails and texts, people telling me, okay, I heard to so, like so and so episode, and it's so good, and I feel like, okay, yes, I'm like adding a positive impact in the world around. So does it happen to you also that like maybe a small text or some incident that happened that made you feel grateful for the moment that you didn't give up when you were feeling like to give up? So any instance that happened with you while in the Green Day Cook's career?
Absolutely. And there have been many such instances, and I think when people start out on their entrepreneurial journey, even like you rightly said, even a small text of
Right.
appreciation or one positive reinforcement from a customer can do wonders to your motivation and your drive. So there have been many gratifying instances, right from the time we started. And to give you an instance of that, we get a lot of customers who call us to compliment us on on the buttery soft feel of our organic cotton garments, right? So that is definitely a positive reinforcement for us. I still recall one of our first few clients, Shivani, who called us, and she thanked us profusely for making organic cotton baby clothes because her baby had sensitive skin and
Right.
she couldn't find many options in the domestic market. So, moments like these are really, very welcome, and that's what keeps us going. Um, Another such instance where we feel really grateful is our factory workers. We feel immense gratitude for our factory workers because they are the ones who help us translate our designs from
Right.
paper to reality, and they work against all odds. So we really wouldn't be what we are without all the people who support us throughout our supply chain. And another initiative that we've taken at Greendigo is that because we end up with a lot of production samples right through the
Right.
year. uh, so the unused production samples we donate to urban slum children through an NGO that we work with. So that is another activity which we carry out that gives us immense happiness and a reason to believe that we really do have the power to make an impact and bring a smile on somebody's face.
And businesses for good like do exist, it just gives you that kind of, I would say that it just enriches your soul from inside, when you listen all these things doing amazing things.
Yeah.
And that's actually great. Like I remember, I think I was in class 9th or 10th. My sister, like earlier, she never used to get pictures clicked with me. I used to be like, everyone is doing this, so why can't you do it? And I remember one of my then teachers, who also a friend and mentor, she told me that, Shweta, like future in time, she would be your biggest support system. And that is true. Like right now in this entrepreneurial journey, she is my support system. So how, I know that you're working with your sister like as a co-founder, how is it like working with your sister, battling all those little challenges together, celebrating small victories? So how is it?
So, Shweta, it's actually great working with my sister. Um, she would be thrilled hearing that right now. But no, but seriously speaking, it's actually great working with her because, we both understand and recognize each other's strengths.
Right.
And because we understand each other's strengths, we've been able to draw out our own set of responsibilities at Greendigo. It didn't take us too much time to kind of divide what our responsibilities would be, which is often a problem that many businesses face, where they try to figure out what the competencies are. And
Right.
so that is something which was made really easy for us because we both know each other so well, and we know what each person's strengths and weaknesses are. Separately, what's really important is that we are both driven by a common purpose. And it really helps to work with someone who gets you, and with who you don't need any pretenses.
Right.
So all in all, I think I'm fortunate to have her as my co-founder in this journey together.
Okay. So I'll ask you that what is climate action to you? Like, what does climate action mean to Barkha Bhatnagar Das as an individual?
Okay, so simply put, climate action to me means being a part of the solution rather than the problem itself. Yeah, so we believe that it's important to have good processes in place right from the beginning,
Right.
because damage caused by a brand over a significant period of time can't be changed overnight. uh, right, we hear about all the the big businesses globally who are now pledging to be sustainable or to address climate change by 2030 or 2050, right? Because the damage done is so immense that it cannot be turned back
Right.
overnight. So with that understanding, we built a sustainable supply chain, and we work with materials that are environment friendly. We worked towards eliminating plastic from our packaging completely, and we believe overall in having a cleaner and greener approach to production and servicing customers. And one of our wins so far has been that we are actually a carbon neutral brand. And this was a natural step for us, since our vision and mission is so strongly tied to clean manufacturing and responsible consumption. So while our supply chain is designed to not contribute much to the carbon footprint, but we everyone does have unavoidable emissions, right? So we tackle those emissions by investing in offset projects such as renewable energy, forest conservation, and energy efficiency. And these offset projects are great because they provide crucial funding for because offsetting provides crucial funding for these projects, and it continues to thrive while making our products carbon neutral from seed to the customer's doorstep.
Right.
So I believe that climate action is about contributing towards the solution and not partaking in the problem that already exists, because each one of us needs to realize how we are contributing to a greater carbon footprint, and instead of adding more to it, we really need to think of ways to kind of negate it.
That's amazing, and I would like to say that more power and more courage to all the things that you're doing. It's amazing to see that, and you really need to come up with collections for, I would say, me as well, because I really envy those colors, those designs. They really are amazing. So my
Thank
last
you.
question to you would be that what would you say to all the entrepreneurs who are starting their journey to create climate solutions, to build products that have a positive impact on the planet and the people? So anything that you would like to tell those people?
See, I would just like to say that all of us are working towards the common goal of addressing climate change, and the climate crisis is staring in our face, and it's horrific, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, while no one has the magic wand to reverse climate change instantly, I guess all that we can do really is to correct our own actions and lead by example, with the hope that the rest of the people would realize the grimness of the situation and follow suit. So just believe in your cause, just follow your dreams, just take it through, and as long as your business checks all the right boxes, you'll be good.
Thank you, Barkha. And to all the listeners who are listening this today, guys, go out, create climate solutions, because climate change challenges are opportunities in disguise. And keep spreading this, like, follow, comment, and share, and keep spreading stories of people creating climate solutions. Thank you, Barkha. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was lovely chatting with you.